Ramayana Kalpavrksam.
Endaro Mahanubhavalu Andariki Namaskaram. As I was coming to the venue from the hotel just now, there was an auto rickshaw right in front of us, and it had a picture of Rudra Hanuman, and it had the words written Rama Rama Yadava Kulavansi. I took it as an auspicious sign that we are talking about Ramayana and the impact Ramayana has had over thousands of years on not just Bharat, but on every country, on every culture where Bharat has had an impactful influence. That is what Ramayana means to us. I am going to take a very, very, very small part of it. Ramayana as seen in the textiles of Bharat, Ramayana in the warp and weft of India. The title of my presentation is Ramo Vigrahavana Dharma. It is a line from Sri Valmiki Ramayana. Can anyone tell me which character says the line? Anyone? Yeah. Yes, Maricha says it. And that is also deeply impactful because Maricha is not on Sri Rama's side, so to speak, in the story. He is Ravana's brother, and Ravana is trying to convince him to take the form of the golden deer and to lure Sri Rama into the forest. And Maricha is trying his best to dissuade Ravana, and he tells Ravana that, are you a fool? Why are you taking on Sri Rama? You are going to destroy yourself, you are going to destroy your kingdom, you are going to destroy everything, because Ramo Vigrahavana Dharma, meaning Sri Rama is the embodiment of Dharma. And that is the reason why the Ramayana continues to be a popular story, continues to be an instruction manual for the people of not just Bharat, but for the people of the world. Is Ramayana impactful because it's a good story? Because it's a story of a hero who rescues his wife from a villain? Or is Ramayana popular because it is viewed as a code of conduct? It is viewed as an instruction manual for life. And Sri Rama is viewed as the embodiment of everything that human life should aspire to. He is the ideal son, he is the ideal brother, he is the ideal friend, he is the ideal guru, he is the ideal husband, and he is also the ideal enemy. And we look at Sri Rama because we are all mortals, and in our day-to-day lives, we make mistakes, we veer from the path of righteousness, we veer from the path of dharma, and we need a role model, we need somebody to look up to, we need somebody to put us back on the right track, so to speak. And that instruction manual is the Ramayana, which is why Ramayana has continued to influence the arts, crafts, literature, dance, drama of this country and of every country that we have had a foothold in for centuries. And it's not just one aspect. Yesterday we saw Ramayana beautifully enacted in dance. Yesterday, Sri Tirandi Chinnajiyar Swamiji talked about the importance of Ramayana as an epic. So why did our weavers and our embroiderers and our painters choose Ramayana as a subject? I can understand Ramayana being carved on temple sculptures. You can understand Ramayana being told in books. We can understand Ramayana presented in dance and everything. But how did our weavers thought of translating Ramayana on textiles, and why? That is a question that I have been asking myself from the first time I saw a very, very beautiful piece of Kalamkari Ramayana exhibited in the Metropolitan Museum of New York long time ago when I had gone to the US. And I realized that is because just as Ramayana is an instruction manual, it's an ethical code for us, it has also been an ethical code for the weavers, for the painters, for the artists, for the craftsmen of this country. And that is why they have translated it into whatever medium they had in hand to pass on a message to the people. all of us are basically storytellers, and what better story to tell than Ramayana, a story that has been told and retold again in 1,000 languages, in every age, in every era, in every medium. So let's explore Ramayana as we see in the arts and crafts, and specifically in the textiles of Bharat. There is a huge treasure house of Ramayana-based textiles in Southeast Asian countries as well. But I cannot condense everything within half an hour or 40 minutes. So I am going to keep my presentation limited to Sri Ramayana as seen in only the textiles of Bharat. As we know, Maharshi Valmiki is known as the Adi Kavi, the first Kavi of Bharat. And Ramayana is known as the Adi Kavya, the first epic, the first poem to be composed. And it consists of 24,000 shlokas organized in 7 kandas, and each kanda is divided into sargas, and each sarga is divided into shlokas. So the way the Ramayana begins is when Maharshi Valmiki is asking Maharshi Narad, tell me about a king who is dharmadnya, who is kritadnya, who is dradvak, who is satyapriya, who is gunavan, who is all these values, who knows the path of righteousness, who is grateful, who is firm on his word, who is brave. Tell me of such a king. Do you know such a king? And Narada tells him about Sri Rama, born in the Ikshvaku clan, and he says that he is the one who who protects dharma. He is the one who protects his praja, his population. He is the one who knows Veda, Vedanga, Shastra, Nipuna, and he also knows Dhanurvidya. And then he goes on to describe Sri Rama in multiple adjectives. The first sarga is almost entirely about describing what a great king Rama was. And that is the reason why the artists from different parts of India have chosen Ramayana as a subject to talk about the different aspects or different prasangas of Ramayana. So I start with, can anybody recognize this craft? Yeah. It's from your region. So I chose to start with it. As you can see, this is Sri Rama. He is meeting Hanuman, Sugriv, and the Vanaras for the first time. So this craft, you told me that it's called Kalamkari. Is it really called Kalamkari all these years when it was practiced in Bharat? No, it has an Indian name. It has a Bharatiya name. It is known as Vratapani. It was later on known as Kalamkari after we started trading with Iran and with other cultures, because Kalam means a pen and Kari means art, and it just became an accepted name. Now, Kalamkari was basically first and foremost a temple craft. It was mainly practiced in Sri Kalahasti and in many other temple towns of Andhra, but now, unfortunately, it is only concentrated in the temple town of Sri Kalahasti. So there were tapestries made using vegetable colors, and this was all freehand drawings, and the artists drew the prasangas from the Ramayana and Mahabharata, and then they filled in with vegetable colors, and there were 17 steps. Even today they use 17 steps to make a final Vratapani product. But nowadays, the workmanship has gotten diluted, and you do not see work of that high caliber. But for a good Kalamkari artist, you need to know your Ramayana inside out. Because unless you don't know the scriptures, unless you don't know the epic, you will not be able to choose the right characters, you will not be able to choose the right prasangas, and you will not be able to present them to the best of their capacity. So the Kalamkari artist, apart from being a good painter and a good craftsman, he or she also has to be very, very well versed in scriptures. So let's look at some examples. Here you can see, can anybody recognize the scenes? If you can see the Ravan in the rightmost corner, you can see that he has 7 heads and 3 heads have already been broken and they have fallen down. Now this is the artist's license. The artists want to tell you that the war is ongoing. Now painting is a static medium, right? You only capture one moment. So how do you show motion? How do you show action that is continuing? In a painting that is stationary, it's a painting of a moment. So you see action being taken. So here is Ravan fighting Sri Ram, and 3 of his heads have already fallen down. And that is how the entire narration comes across. It's very symbolic, it's very fluid, it's very dynamic. This is the entire Ramayana. This is a temple backpiece actually, to be used as a backdrop for temple festivities. It is too small, but you can see Sri Rama and Sita in the center, and the entire Ramayana is basically, it's going like this, like this, like this, like this, like a comic strip. Here is Ravan and his brothers. They come to him complaining about Sri Rama. Again, this is another interesting piece because this used to be very common, this tradition, where they used to paint scenes from Ramayana and also write the description in Telugu script, as you can see here. Everywhere it's written. That is Kabanda. Identify, they're too small, but can you make out the scenes of this? It's amazingly detailed because even the smallest of the background, the trees, the animals, the base of the bricks behind the characters, it's all done so beautifully. And if you will see Ramayana in, say, Kalamkari as opposed to Ramayana in Chamba rumal, or as opposed to Ramayana in Jamdani, you will see that the faces of the characters also are very different. You will see that the clothes they are wearing are also very different. You will see that the background shown is also very different. That is because every artist has that kind of creative freedom to diverge and come back, but you will still know that it is Sri Rama and Sita being depicted, that it is Ravan being depicted, that it is Tataka being killed, or whatever character. Because if you know even a little bit of Ramayana, you will know that what is the story being told. But having said that, there will be a lot of individual difference between what artists depict. In fact, even 2 Kalamkari artists will have a very different way of showing the same scene, because that is above all the USP of Indian art. Think of it like this. Think of it, any 2 great Indian classical singers singing the same raga. Consider Bhimsen Joshi and Gangubai Hangal, who belong to the same gharana also, singing the same raga, say Darbari Kannada, or even the same cheese in that raga. Will it sound exactly the same? No, it won't. Because every artist has the creative freedom to diverge and converge, and that is why each rendition makes it absolutely unique, and at the same time you can make out that it is the same raga, it is the same school of singing, it is the same way of presenting, and it is exactly the same in case of art as well. This is Ramayana in Kantha embroidery of West Bengal. As you can see, they are going to Vanvas. That is Ravan coming and begging, and he is taking Sita away. That is Lakshman cutting Shurpanakha's nose. So the arrow is actually going here. See the amount of detailing. They're telling you that only the nose has been cut. So that is why the arrow is cutting like this. Then they are going to this is the golden deer, and they are going to Vanvas. Now it is, see, there are constraints of space and time, right? There is one particular piece of cloth, and you are trying to fit in the entire story in that piece of cloth. So you're going to make jumps. Obviously, you cannot depict the entire Ramayana in one piece of cloth. It will have to be miles long. So you're picking and choosing prasangas, and not only that, you are placing them the way the textile limitations of the textiles are making you do it. So it's not always linear. There is always one prasanga may come here, one prasanga may come here, one prasanga may come on top, one prasanga may come on bottom. But they're assuming that all the viewers or all the users of the textile already know the Ramayana enough to be able to figure out what is where and to put it in the correct order. This, if you show this to somebody who has never read the Ramayana, they wouldn't understand a word of it. You need to be familiar with it, and the artist assumed that every one of us are familiar with the basic story of Ramayana and the basic prasangas. This is a masterpiece actually. It is done by a national award winning Kantha artist called Mahamaya Sikdar. She has made a huge, almost a double bedsheet size piece of the entire Ramayana, and there are different prasangas she has depicted like that. Extremely beautiful work. It's a museum quality piece. This I got from the internet. I couldn't get too many small specific photographs of it, but if you can see here, and can you believe it, all this is embroidery. To imagine that how many months she must have taken to embroider this one piece, and like this, there are probably 60-80 squares in that one piece. So somebody has devoted 1 or 2 years of their life working 8 hours a day to create a masterpiece like this. This is also from Mahamaya Sikdar. This is Hanumanji burning the city of Lanka. This is a Kantha sari. I have this sari actually, but I couldn't get it this time. So this is Ravan taking Sita away, and you can see Jatayu who is come to rescue, and after that there's going to be a fight and Jatayu is going to be killed. This is a dupatta, again Kantha, and you can see that Hanuman burning Lanka. Now here, the Kantha artists see a village or a town according to their sensibility. This is what houses in typical Bengal villages look like. So in their imagination, the houses of Lanka also look like this. So that is why Ravan is burning what looks like a hut. But if you see in Kalamkari, you will see that hut presented differently because the sensibilities of the Kalamkari artists are different. Now we come to Ramayana and Chamba embroidery. Chamba rumal is a very, very old ancient art practiced in the region of Chamba in Himachal Pradesh, and they use only mythological motifs, basically not mythological motifs, wrong of me to say that, scriptural motifs, and these are presented to the bride on the wedding. So the family, the bride's family does it, and this is gifted on occasion of the wedding, along with the vigrahas and along with all the puja sahityas that the bride is given from her maika. And the uniqueness of this type of embroidery is they use what is known as a double-sided satin stitch, dorukha, which looks exactly the same on both sides of the cloth. So the Chamba rumals look exactly, you cannot make out what is the obverse and what is the reverse, they look exactly the same. And this is an extraordinary piece. You can see that they are building the bridge. The entire story is being told in embroidery, and this is extremely time consuming, and it is not traced traditionally at least. It is just freehand drawing and freehand embroidery. These are just smaller close-ups of that same piece. Here you can see the dress of the characters. How are they dressed? How is Sita dressed? She's not dressed in your typical sari, right? She's not dressed in what we see in the Ramayana serial on TV or whatever. She is dressed in the typical Himachali dress of that lehenga, ghagra choli with a dupatta on the back. It is because I told you, as artists, people have the freedom to choose. And the local sensibilities are always taken into consideration because many of these artists are actually women who depict what they see around them. They have not seen Lanka. Their imagination of Lanka is a place around them. So they will show Lanka as the biggest town that they have seen. They will show Sri Rama and Lakshman and Sita in clothes that they have seen people wearing. That is why you see a lot of regional variations in the regional depictions of Ramayana. This is again a Chamba rumal, and you can see that there are monkeys, the Vanar Sena, the bears on top, and how they are fighting. The first piece I showed you is actually a reproduction of this one. This is a museum piece again from Met. The best pieces of art in Bharat, from Bharat, are unfortunately not in Bharat. They are all in museums outside Bharat. So this is a piece from Met from which an artist from Chamba recreated the earlier ones that I showed you. But if you see the earlier ones, you can see that the workmanship is not as dense or as close or as intricate as this one. Now we come to Ramayana in weaves. So far we have seen Ramayana in paintings. Some more paintings will also come. But now we see Ramayana in weaves. This is, can anybody tell me, any textile enthusiast, what kind of weave is this? Anyone? I see lots of very well-dressed women out here who know their saris. This is Jamdani, but Jamdani from West Bengal, not from Bangladesh. So this piece is created by this gentleman called Basak, who was very famous for trying different creative things. And you can see that he has created the entire Ramayana and woven it using extra weft techniques. And it is extremely time consuming. And probably doing this sari alone would have taken his weavers more than a year, year and a half. You can see in close-up. And it's not easy to show the facial expressions in weaves. Because remember, what you are seeing is magnified, okay? But the face is there, like Sri Ram's face is only this much in real life. So to be able to show the emotion of anger, joy, sadness, it requires an extraordinary skill which only very, very skilled weavers are able to do it. Here, if you can see, this is the Ram Darbar scene. Finally, they've come back to Ayodhya and they've been crowned. And if you see here, you can see the dress that the Jamdani weaver has conceptualized, Sri Rama wearing or Sri Lakshmana wearing or the Rishis wearing or the Vanaras wearing is very, very different from the Kalamkari artists or from the Chamba rumal artists, because this is their imagination and which is what they think. And in Bengal, they wear a dhoti on a regular basis even today. So this is the dress that they show their characters wearing. Even Sita is wearing a Jamdani sari. Can you see it? It's Jamdani within Jamdani. You know, like one of those Inception kind of things. The first story, bottom first story, can anyone recognize what that is? Yeah. So this is where it starts. So this is the entire thing. This is from your city actually. This is Gaurang's recreation of a Raja Ravi Verma painting in Pondur Khadi. And this is when Sita is going into the Dharti Mata and Sri Ram is sitting there. And you can see again, this is typical Ravi Verma style. So you can see the faces of the characters, you can see the outfits they are wearing. They have a very distinct Maharashtrian influence because Ravi Verma's characters all had that kind of draping. This is from Chhattisgarh. This is from my own collection again. This is Ram Darbar in Chhattisgarh Tasar. And you can see the characters, you can see how they are shown. Now we come to Ramayana and Patachitra. Has anyone heard of Patachitra? Where is that art from? Yeah? Odisha, yes. So Patta means cloth, and it is a term that has been used in Panini's grammar, in Harshacharita, in many of the characters. It's a very ancient art, and even today in the Jagannath Puri temple, there are many sacred textiles which are being painted, and they are being painted by the Patachitra artists from Raghurajpur, which is a village near Puri. And at least in olden times and even today, when the Navakalebara happens, when the new Murti of Sri Jagannath is chosen every 12 years, there is a very, very sacred Patachitra to be painted known as Anasara Pata. That Patachitra is painted by very specific artists, and they have to live a completely austere lifestyle before they even put pen to the cloth. There is about a month of austerities where they are not supposed to eat onion, garlic, anything tamasic food, stay away from their families, stay in one room, sleep on the floor on a grass mat, do meditation for 4 to 6 hours, and only then they are considered to be ready spiritually to paint that kind of painting. Here we can see, can anybody tell me what scene is this? Yeah, Ram is breaking the Shiva Dhanush and Sita Swayamvar. And here you can see how, this is a 2D painting, right? How the artist has shown 3D effect and how he has shown different levels. So Dashrath is sitting on the higher level. There is a Darbar hall where the Shiva Dhanush is kept. And Sita is waiting with a garland in her hands. And Sri Ram breaks the Dhanush and the wedding happens. So in the 2D format, in a flat painting format, they have shown multiple levels. This is Sita Kalyana. And if you can see the bottom, the tiling, the black and white tiling, the flowers outside because it's an outdoor mandapa that they're showing where they're getting married, and the clothes that they're wearing, the brightness, the vividness of the clothes. This is all very typical Patachitra style, Odia style. And if you see those crowns that they're wearing, Sri Rama and Lakshmana, you will see that even today the Bengali grooms and the Odia grooms wear that elongated kind of crown. This is when they are going to Vanvas, and this is Guha taking them across Sharayu in his boat. And you can see how the different kinds of trees, the clouds are shown, how they have shown the waves in the water, how they have shown the fish. This is, they are killing Rakshasis in the forest, and on the top level he is doing Ahilya Uddhar. You can see that Ahilya has become a stone and then she comes out of the... This is, what is this? Yes. So Marich is tempting Sita, and Sita is telling Sri Rama, why don't you go and get the golden deer? And you can see that the whole forest ambience, there's a small little Parnakuti that they have. There are trees of different kinds of foliage that they have done, different kind of colors. Some have flowers, some have fruits. And there is a pond, there are lakes in the pond, there are animals in the forest. So it's all symbolic, right? So you show one tree and you make the people imagine that there are a lot of trees, that it's a forest. This is... Yes, you can see that Lakshman Resha, that Lakshman has drawn, and Ravan comes dressed as disguised as a sadhu, and Sita is giving him alms, and there Ram has already killed a golden deer, and Sita feels that Lakshman, she hears Ram's voice, and she sends Lakshman forcibly. This is the end. This is Ganjifa cards, again a different art, not Patachitra, but the playing cards, the circular playing cards. Those are also typical of Odisha art, and there also they have seen, here you usually show the 9 avatars of Sri Vishnu, in which Ram is one, and there are paintings of Ramayana nearby. This is again another Patachitra panel where they have shown the entire Ramayana. Now we come to Ramayana in Baluchari. Baluchari is a sari from? Yes, West Bengal. Now the term Baluchar actually means a sand island. It comes from, Balu means sand, Char means a small tapu. And it comes from a district near, a small village near Murshidabad district, where these kind of saris were woven. And these saris were always famous for their narrative details, where they drew themes from scriptures from Ramayana and Mahabharata on the border and on the pallu. As you can see, there Ravan is taking Sita away, Jatayu is coming and fighting. Here Vishwamitra is taking young Ram and Lakshman away to the forest, and in the bottom part Ram is killing the golden deer. Here again it is Dashrath and Shravanbal. And here it is Sita getting married. Now we come to Ramayana and Madhubani. Come back to painting again. Now Madhubani is more popularly known as Madhubani paintings these days, but it's actually Mithila art. It's an art typical of the Mithilanchal region of Bihar, which is considered to be Sitaji's Maika. So there this art is practiced only and exclusively by women, and they say that when in the Ramayana, when Ram and Sita got married, they first saw each other in Madhuban in Mithilanchal. That is why that whole region is known as Madhubani. And when they got married, the local women, they actually painted and decorated their wedding mandapa and their mahal with paintings. And that is the tradition that Madhubani goes back to. And that is why there is a huge preponderance of Ramayan based themes in Madhubani art. It's the entire Ramayana. This is Vishwamitra taking Ram and Lakshman to kill the Rakshasas. This is Ram breaking the Shiv Dhanush. And Ravan, and again here if you see the symbolism here, Ravan is sad. Ravan couldn't lift up the Shiv Dhanush, but Ram lifted it with ease and broke it, right? So Ram is shown very vibrant in very bright colors. It's a very, very happy side, the left side. And if you see Ravan's face, it's all morose, it's all black and white. It shows that Ravan is not as powerful as Sri Ram. This is again the same theme, Guha taking Ram, Lakshman and Sita across the Sharayu. Bharat Bet. This is Lakshman who is lying unconscious in Ram's lap, and Hanuman getting the Sanjeevani from he is getting the entire mountain. And this is finally Ram kills Ravan, and you can see that Ravan is horizontal and Ram is vertical, and that is the symbolic way of showing that Sri Ram has killed Ravan. And this is the final scene. This is the Ram Darbar once Ram and Sita have come back, and there are all the other gods that are blessing them. There is Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, Ganeshji, and there is Hanuman sitting there. And again, it's this painting is still done today when there are marriages happening in Mithilanchal. And now I'll show you some glimpses of how Ramayana is reflected in textiles and some other styles. Though these don't have as many pieces as I could find of the other art forms. So Matani Pachedi is an art form in Rajasthan which is practiced by a particular community, and most of the themes are actually mother goddess based. They used to do that for the ritual puja during the Navratri. But they have also started doing Ramayana. And this is Ramayana in Matani Pachedi style. And you can see that their hallmark is very, very fine work if you see in the background. This is the entire thing. This is Ramayana in the Kalighat painting style of West Bengal. It's a very, very typical style. And this is Jatayu trying to stop Ravan from taking Sita Ma away. This is Hanuman opening his chest to show that my heart is full of Sri Ram, Lakshman and Sita always. And this is again Jatayu and Ravan fighting Jatayu. And you can see that again this one and the painting before this are both Kalighat style paintings, but you can see the style, you can see the expression, you can see the colors used are totally different. That is because of the same reason that Bharatiya artists had the creative freedom to experiment, to try new things. And all this is because, as I said, the title of my presentation, Ramo Vigrahavan Dharma. Rama is the embodiment of Dharma, and that is why Ramayana continues to inspire artists, weavers, painters, dancers, writers, you name it, for several generations, and continues to inspire us even today. Now I'll show you two actual pieces from my collection. As you can see, it's completely covered, and they have pretty much covered the entire Ramayana in a very non-linear form. So do not expect it to be done in the chronological order. They have done it the way they have found space and the way they have arranged the theme. Yeah. Ulta. This is a very old piece. This is by a national award winning Kalamkari artist. And you can see this is Ram Darbar and this is authentic natural dyes. You can see how faded they are. And you can see the beauty of the faces, the eyes, everything depends on the eyes actually. And you can see the eyes of Sri Ram, Lakshman, Sita. You can see all the other characters also. It's a very, very beautifully done piece. Nowadays you don't get pieces like this, but this is a good addition. Thank you so much.